Long recording in progress. It's so much fun. Okay, so Lynn, this is my sister-in-law Tzivi and my sister-in-law Judy, and this is my
Hello.
friend Lynn. Okay, so we're all
Hello.
together,
Hey,
and let's just start. Okay, I'm a stickler with the starting on time, so we will start on time and we will finish on time.
Okay,
Okay, we're
Baruch
1 minute
Hashem.
early. Okay. Now, we're learning from a sefer, and I put it on the chat, and it's called the True Power of Speech, and it was with Rabbi Kessin. So why did I choose Rabbi Kessin? Because I learned from Rabbi Kessin about over 20 years ago the laws of Lashon Hara, but he taught it so differently that it made such an impact that it changed my life. And after that, I just follow his teaching because I find that it's powerful, and because just learning the laws of Lashon Hara it's too dry. Everybody knows, everybody knows. Lashon Hara is the truth, okay? And Moshe Shem Ra is a lie. Okay, it's slander. So what does that tell us? It's this technicalities. And within Judaism, we have technicalities and we have the spirit of the law and we have the letter of the law. The letter of the law is everybody knows the letter of the law. Everybody does it. But the problem is that the spirit of the law has to also be understood. If we understand them both together, then we could really make a change in the world. And I'm telling you that if you observe the laws of Lashon Hara, your life will change. And I'm this is my I've done this teaching a few times, and it makes a difference in people's lives. If you observe the laws of Lashon Hara, it's really going to change. And the laws of Lashon Hara, and we're going to review it, okay? So we're going to review it the way Rabbi Kessin does it. This is his book, okay?
Okay.
And
Okay.
you have it on the chat. If you know how to do the chat, you could click on chat and you'll see the link and it'll take you directly there.
Oh, and
Now,
it'll open the book?
it'll take you straight. But Lynn, don't worry because me and you are together all the time. So um
Yes.
it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. And I'll show you, and I have the book and I'll show you and we can go to the store together. Anyhow,
Okay.
so he starts off with an incredible story of the Chafetz Chaim. And the Chafetz Chaim, there was a bacher who came in, it was Purim, and he was definitely drunk, and he was going over to the Chafetz Chaim, and he said, "Teach it, tell me, promise me that I'm going to have a place with next to you in Olam Haba." And everybody was like, "Get this kid away from the Chafetz Chaim. What are you doing?" And the Chafetz Chaim was like, let him talk. It's okay, it's okay. And the kid was getting agitated. You got to promise me that I have a place in Olam Haba for you. So after a while, the Chafetz Chaim said, okay, not a problem. I can't promise you Olam Haba, but I can tell you that if you observe the laws of Lashon Hara, you have a place next to me. At that moment, the Bacher like sobered up. He's like, this isn't what? What did you just say? And he said, no, 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 no. I take it back. I take it back. And the Chafetz Chaim got very upset and he said, take him away. Here's a person that's right in front and has seats to go to Olam Haba, and he won't do it because he doesn't want to observe the laws. So here the Rav goes further and he says, first, nobody, like I said, nobody could promise you Olam Haba, and he didn't promise him Olam Haba. He said, if you keep, it was a stipulation, if you keep the laws of Lashon Hara, then you have a place in Olam Haba. It's not that he's going to have it automatically. He has to keep the laws. Second, we begin to realize what is Shmiras Halashon. It's so incredibly great. Can you imagine? You'll have a place in Olam Haba if you keep the laws of Shmiras Halashon. So that means that we really have to investigate what these laws are all about. And third, and the mitzvah of Shmiras Halashon is deceptive. It seems easy. It seems like keeping the laws, it's easy. And this is what I said. Like no, we're going to learn from this book also. I love this author. I love it. It's Rabbi Danny Brody. Learn halachos of Lashon Hara 3 minutes a day. It's amazing. It's a great sefer. But it seems like keeping the laws of Lashon Hara is relatively easy, and it's not. It's not because it's very complex. So he goes and he goes, I could teach you in two ways. I can tell you Musar versus Hashkafa, and he doesn't want to do Musar. Everybody does the same thing. This is what you do, this is what you don't do. This is what you do, this is what you don't do. Hashkafa, on the other hand, gives you that internalness. Once you know internally how things are functioning, then you're really going to ask yourself a question, a very, very important question. And this is always has to be like before you open your mouth and before you say anything, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? But right now, and I want everybody to participate with me. We have 20 minutes. I promise 20 minutes and that's it. But I want to know, what is your definition of Lashon Hara? I need to know. I want to broaden this up. What is your
Oh,
definition?
can be anything from something that somebody did or you that isn't good and can be damaging. You see somebody that did something to somebody else, and if you say that, it can either break the relationship or it can harm.
Right,
No,
right. Lynn, I want you to know you said the right word, the damaging. The damaging. It's such an important, that's a really very important word. Okay, Tivi, how about you? What's Lashon Hara?
Basically, when you speak bad about someone, even if it's not even, let's say someone did something a bit to you and you go and repeat it, that was,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I thought
Mhm.
I lost you guys.
No,
Well,
you're
if
here.
someone does something to you, but then you don't like it and you go and repeat what that person did to you, but you shouldn't. You should just hold it back and not say anything.
Okay, so you're contributing a Lashon Hara is that somebody did something to you and you
Or anyone, whatever it is. Yeah, something like that.
something like that. Okay, Judy?
So there's the obvious, talking bad about people, but there's also talking good about people.
Right.
But something came up just the other day that I feel was Lashon Hara, is just insinuating something. You don't even have to say it, but you're going to get people talking and thinking, and that alone is going to be Lashon Hara, because now, even though you haven't said it, just by insinuating something, you've now created a Lashon Hara,
Right.
where people are going to start talking and insinuating.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because everything is 100% right. And Lashon Hara could also be a facial expression. Like, how was coffee with? I heard you went out with, making up a name, with Susan. And you go, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Or, what do you think about this boy for my, I don't know. And you'll go, Where did that come from? Like, why did you have to do that? And you have to always ask yourself the question, is it worth it? You have to have that balance. So we're going to learn not only what I'm excited about this is that not only are we going, the examples that each and every one of you gave is perfect. The most important thing is what Lynn said with the word damaging. Damaging. You could say somebody's really pretty, and then that will open up like a Pandora's door. Oh, you think she's pretty? Oh, I heard she got Botox. But whoa, whoa! All you said was this person was pretty. That's all you said. Or she looks youthful, or she has so much energy. Well, I'd have a lot of energy also if I had a housekeeper full time. Wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. All you said nothing bad. You literally said nothing bad. You said she looks youthful, but because you opened your mouth, that other person's and ba 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 ba. That's Lashon Hara. Damaging, and always have to ask that question: is it worth it? Okay. Now we're going to continue. Before I continue, the term I don't want to speak. I'm just reading really quickly. The first thing we need to is a definition. How can we define Lashon Hara precisely and consistently? It's a communication that can cause damage to another individual. That's that word, damage. It caused damage and that generates any kind of injury, something like what Tivi and Judy were saying, it caused an injury to another individual. In order to define such as it has the communication, which in itself must be able to cause damage, that means that you're communicating in such a way that you cause damage. Okay, if that's the case, something begins to dawn on us. The idea of Lashon Hara emerges from what is called a superstructure of damage. If someone causes damage to another person, he's a mazik. He's the one who causes damage. A person could cause damage in a number of ways, and here we go. There are different types of damages. You can cause it by the body, meaning you say something and this he gives examples. He says you say something and the other person gets so upset that they beat up another person. That's a body damage that could happen. Another thing is that another instrument is the property. The classic idea brought down in Torah is when the cow gourds on other people's food. Okay, it's the damage that's done. The third instrument is damage of the tongue. That's when you are speaking and you're causing damage. So again, you can cause damage on the body, you can cause damage on the property, and you can cause damage with your tongue. Okay? So here it's so powerful. The concept of Lashon Hara as a communicative device that creates damage reveals that Lashon Hara is nothing more than damage. Someone who regularly speaks Lashon Hara is a Baal Lashon Hara, a mazik. A person who continuously speaks Lashon Hara, speaking Lashon Hara means that you're talking about someone. We have to, and the reason that I want to do this with you and because it's going to take our life from here to there. It's going to change, it's going to transform our life. We don't have to talk about people. We don't literally have to talk about people. We could talk about so many things. That's why I read books and get very interesting. And you could learn and there's so much out there. Nowadays we have so much information that we don't have to read. Go on YouTube and pick a favorite speaker, put your headphones on and just listen, and then have something interesting to tell. But you don't have to, the minute that you start opening your mouth about a person, you have to think, is it worth it? And we're going to find out why. There are a few components to the acts of Lashon Hara. First, there's always this, okay, this is between me and you. Let's go. How many people, when you're talking Lashon Hara, get affected? Everybody, anybody? How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many
Well,
people
it
get?
depends on how many people you're talking about. And at first, it's you that gets the Avera. The
Right.
person that is listening, they get the Avera also. And then you're affecting the people that you're talking about. So
You're
it's really
Yeah, go on.
it's basically yourself and the person that you're talking to. It's there's one person there, there's two people there. It doesn't matter how many people because
But
they're listening.
does it go further to
And
then the people who then continue talking? So if I'm
Right.
talking to you, Tzivi, and then you leave and go talk to somebody else about it,
yeah,
Right.
So
and so
interest
on.
And then
and
the
like
side effects from that, till they'll say, oh, I heard such and such happened to whether it be a business, they did a real bad business transaction, and that trickle effect, oh, business, oh my gosh. And then without realize it's just like such a domino effect.
so here we go. It's 3 people that get affected. 3 people. The person that speaks, the person that listens, and the person that's being spoken about. There are 3 people that get affected. So the person that speaks, I'm going to talk about to you, you get affected, and then the person that we're talking about. So keep that in mind and always ask yourself, is it worth it? Okay. The key idea is that any communication, no matter how, no matter what form, it's an instrument of Lashon Hara. Communication can be any form of language, where it be a spoken language, body language, written language. Now, right, on the internet, everybody's doing their crazy stuff. That's really, really bad. There's always a sender, the instrument that enables us to send the message. The third component is the report, the communication itself, what's being said about a certain subject, about that individual. So again, the person who speaks it, the person who hears it, and who are you talking about? You're throwing in the mud the person that you decided to talk about. You got to understand this, and we're going to go further. Okay. And of course, it's the listener. Okay. Now, there are 4 types of damages that could be done via Lashon Hara. You could do like someone physically. If a person walked over to another, and did you hear what so and so said about your son? And the receiver of this message proceeds to beat the other one. That's a physical. It could happen physically. It could happen emotionally. This Lashon Hara is causing a great emotional distress. I'm sure each and every one of us we've had emotional distress. We heard that somebody spoke about us and it wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. That's not the way it went. Nobody, it hurts. So that's an emotional. The third is financial. Can you imagine how many times you share a business secret about a third person party causing the listener to set up his own business, permanently damaging? Again, and then the worst of all is reputation. When you really, the fourth way is of damaging somebody is when you damage somebody's reputation. I have to tell you, I stopped talking. I don't talk about people. I really don't like it. And I try and be very careful, especially with shidduchim. especially with shidduchim. Why? Because whenever anybody calls me, I always ask them to ask me direct questions. I want a direct question.
Right.
I will give you a direct answer. I will not give you my thoughts on anything. That's not relevant because it's a reputation. What I think is important may not be what they think is important. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I get a phone call and they want to know about the girl's hashkafa, no, 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 no. That's too broad. That's too broad. Give me a direct question. And I'll say, I have no idea what you're saying. It's too broad. She's a great girl. I love her. Oh, it doesn't sound like she's very settled. How'd you get that from? She's a great girl. So, you know what I'm saying? So now I want a specific question so I could answer you specifically. And that's what I found with shidduchim. I'm very careful. And why? The reputation. You could seriously damage the reputation. All right. I've gotten so many, even when my kids were going out and the phone calls that I got, I great intentions with everybody, but poor execution. One of the greatest assets a person has is his good reputation. So you have to maintain that. You can cause a person great damage simply by ruining his reputation, causing him more damage than you could done in any other method. All of these methods can cause true damage. Okay, so we have physical, emotional, financial, reputation. All these are very this is all just happening because of Lashon Hara. This is how you can destroy somebody. Now we can begin to ask ourselves a certain question that arises as a result of the analysis of difficult question. First question is, if Lashon Hara is only for destruction, if the concept pertains to one who speaks and the result generates damage, how can we understand this? Why is it so stringent? Are we to understand why it's so stringent? Chafetz Chaim enumerates 31 commandments that a person transgresses directly or indirectly, 31, whenever he speaks Lashon Hara. 31. We have to understand, both Bais Hamigdash were destroyed because of Lashon Hara. Of course, 100%. The one Bais Hamikdash was destroyed primarily because of certain things, and the second Bais Hamikdash was primarily destroyed because of other things. But they're all underlining Lashon Hara. If we understand that the person in front of us was created in the image of Hashem, we would think twice before we start talking Lashon Hara. All right? We would really think twice, and we wouldn't cause damage. And what's holding us back from the Bais Hamikdash now is Lashon Hara. Because if we would look at each and every one of us and we would look at with like, I love you because you're Jewish. I just love you. I just think you're amazing. We wouldn't think of talking bad. It wouldn't occur to us. And this is how we're going to bring the Bais Hamikdash, Bezrat Hashem, very, very soon. Okay. When a person speaks Lashon Hara, he transgresses 31 commandments. It's almost inconceivable how one person can cause such damage with his tongue. The other thing, remember all these little things that we learned in school. The tongue, how many guards is in the tongue? First of all, it's in your mouth. It's down over here by your throat, right? And it has teeth, and you have lips. There's so many, like, think about it. The eyes also, but the eyes is just one lid. Like you close your eyes, it's just one lid. You open your eyes. The ears, you could flap it a little, maybe close your ear. But the mouth, you gotta think, Okay. The next question is based on another Chazal, which is based on the Gemara, that says that Rabbi Alexander entered the marketplace and says, who wants life? It's a famous Chazal. Of course, people gathered around because everyone wants life. Who doesn't want life? They asked him, what do you have? And he said a quote from a pasuk, who is the man who desires life? Guard your tongue from speaking evil. Watch what you have to say. Always ask yourself, is it worth it? And we're going to learn the dynamics of it. I just don't want to go over time. We're going to learn the dynamics. In essence, what he meant was, you're making a big mistake. You believe that in order to live a long life, you've got to involve yourself in some kind of physical exercise, like jogging and aerobics and something along those lines. It's a big mistake. No, but let me tell you something. You should be involved in cardio because it's healthy for you, but that's not what's going to give you longevity. There's a spiritual path that truly allows you to live long, right here, not in the future world. It promotes a long sought after longevity. What's that path? Don't speak Lashon Hara. It's a remarkable idea. There is an actual commandment that extends life in this world. It's important to understand that long life means that you live into your 90s with good health. With good health. And it's all about Lashon Hara. It seems baffling. How is it possible an individual who doesn't cause damage to another through his conversation will live a long life? What does one have to do with the other? So what does one have to do? What does it have to be that I watch my mouth and I'm going to have a long life? What does that have to do with anything? And by the way, you would think that the Chafetz Chaim was the one that gave us all these laws, and he saw that there was an issue, and he did these Sfarim, right? And you would think that the Chafetz Chaim didn't speak. The Chafetz Chaim spoke beautifully, and he was able to have a conversation, but he didn't talk about people. Little people talk about people. Little minds talk about people. Big minds have many things to talk about. You have so much. Talk about the garden. Talk about anything. Talk about the weather. Maybe not the weather, because that could also get you going. But talk about anything. Talk about anything that's going to bring nachas ruach to Hashem. What's going to make Hashem so happy? You know what's going to make Hashem so happy? When we get along. You know what's going to make Hashem so happy? When we don't have sinas chinam. Sinas chinam is based on hatred. It's Lashon Hara. If I didn't have, if I wouldn't speak ill of another person, I wouldn't have hatred. Can you imagine? It's incredible. Okay, there's another similar. If you want to live, it's up to your tongue. If you want to die, it's up to your tongue. This supports the famous saying of Shlomo HaMelech: life and death in the power of the tongue. The tongue can destroy everything. This Gemara is saying that if you wish to live a long life, and really up to you, if you want to die, speak Lashon Hara. If you want to die, speak Lashon Hara. It's explicitly saying if you want to die, if you want to make sure that you'll die young, or if you don't care about having problems, then speak Lashon Hara. It seems like a mystery. Now, I'm not saying, this is the Sefer is not saying that anybody that dies young is because they spoke Lashon Hara. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying at all. Nobody knows how long somebody's going to live. Nobody knows the different problems that they're going to have. Nobody knows that. But the author is saying that a person who speaks and practices Lashon Hara, you're running into a big problem. It's like crossing the street without looking at the cars. It's like driving a car without the seatbelt. Okay? It's going to be a problem. Okay. Okay. And here, this is really, again, I love when they can bring it into, like, we could actually see it. The Chafetz Chaim makes a remarkable statement regarding this Mishnah. Okay, let me see, 1 second. There's a mind-boggling midrash that quotes God. The midrash said, God said, from any kind of tzara, I can save you. From any sickness, financial worry, emotional stress, drug addiction, whatever it is, I can save you, says God. The condition is that we refrain from speaking Lashon Hara. We're going to find out how that works. The Midrash points out that aside from living long, life will be relatively tranquil. Relatively. You will live your life in a relatively peace and tranquility just by not speaking Lashon Hara, by not talking Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim makes a remarkable statement regarding this Midrash. He said that it's possible to guard one's tongue. People mistakenly think that guarding one's tongue will mean the end of conversation. That means people think that if I don't have anything good to, if I don't have anything to say, if I can't open my mouth, that's it. That's it. That's false. Even if you think it's impossible, which it isn't, the Chafetz Chaim said it's worth keeping your mouth closed for the rest of your life in order to fulfill the fulfillment of God's promise that he will save you from any kind of tzaras. So the Chafetz Chaim says it's not true. Like, you don't have to zip your mouth for the rest of your life. But if you had to, it'd be worth it. It's worthwhile trade-off. That's how great this is. Chazal said that even if a Jew worships avodah zarah, even if a Jew, and this is where I love this part. Are you ready? In the time of Achav, and this is where it's telling you, in the time of Achav, he was the king of Israel, right? He and all of Israel worshipped avodah zarah. They sat there with their idols, whatever that means. They sat there. He didn't lose one battle. You want to know why? Because in the time of Achav, they didn't speak Lashon Hara. The people got along fine. They didn't do the right thing. They were worshiping avodah zarah, 100%. That's wrong. But they weren't talking Lashon Hara. Are you ready for this? In the time of Shaul HaMelech, the people were very, very smart. The children were very, very knowledgeable. And they spoke Lashon Hara. And Shaul lost battle after battle after battle after battle. It shows you the difference. Hashem doesn't, even as parents, we're parents. The worst thing you could hear is when your kids are talking about each other negatively. What the heck? Why? What are you doing? It's not bringing peace. Why are you doing this? So can you imagine, ever more so, Hashem is up in Shemayim and he sees that we're not treating each other nicely, that we don't see each other. Every time you see another Yid, you see a Yid, know that it's Tselem Elokim. There's a spark of godliness in each and every one of you. And you look at somebody's eyes, and how could you not fall in love with them? You're great. You're amazing. You're incredible. That's the feeling that you should have for your fellow Jew, for everybody. The truth is for everybody, because Hashem created the whole world, right? And Mashiach is coming for everybody, not just one particular group. So we have to have that. So where do we come off with Lashon Hara? We're hurting Hashem deeply, deeply. Okay, so again, so one generation worshiped Avodah Zarah, the other one didn't, but one generation didn't speak Lashon Hara, and they're the ones that won. Okay, let's proceed further. Yerushalmi says, just as the reward of learning Torah is greater than all the mitzvahs combined, the punishment of sin of Lashon Hara is worse than all the sins you could commit. The punishment of Lashon Hara is worse than all the sins that you commit. Let that sit with you. We don't have the reason we don't have the Bais Hamigdash, and I'm going to say it's because me. Because if I would be doing what I need to do, we would have the Bais Hamigdash. That's what each and every one of us has to feel that. We have to have that heaviness on us. We don't have Mashiach. We don't have the Bais Hamigdash. Why? Because it's based on hatred. Because it's Lashon Hara. We have to be very careful when we talk about even the Israeli government, which sometimes like, but you have to control. One second, Hashem is controlling the world. My job is to love each and every one of the Jews that I see in this world and control my mouth. Okay? The greatest sin is Lashon Hara. Oh, here we go. What do Chazal understand about Lashon Hara that we don't? We have to understand Chazal is trying to teach us something. I'm just looking at the time. We have 5 more minutes. They're saying that there is no Avera, there's no sin that beats Lashon Hara, that you could commit adultery, idol worship, murder, and that still doesn't equate to the severity of Lashon Hara. Let that sit. Let that penetrate you. The greatest sin is Lashon Hara, just as the greatest mitzvah is learning Torah. It's completely incomprehensible. The truth is explicitly clear in Chazal. When one speaks Lashon Hara, it's more severe than the 3 sins combined. A person is obligated to give up his life rather to commit any of these 3 sins. However, if someone were to say, I want you to transgress the laws of Shabbos or I'll kill you, it's permitted to transgress them. These 3 mitzvos, adultery, worshiping idols, and murder, are the only ones that which is required to sacrifice his life rather than transgress them. Yet the Gemara says that Lashon Hara is worse than them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Again, adultery, idol worship, and murder. Lashon Hara is worse than all those 3. That's crazy. Anyone who speaks Lashon Hara magnifies his sins in heaven, and that's what we're going to learn, but not today. In other words, not only does derogatory speech inflict damage in this world, some interaction occurs in the heavens as well. In the beginning of Parsha Shmos, we discover yet another incredible event. Moshe Rabbeinu, a Jew raised in Pharaoh's palace, goes out amongst the Jews and sees a Mitzri beating the Jew, and Moshe kills the Egyptians. He comes back afterwards and notices 2 Jews fighting. Moshe says to one of them, why are you beating your fellow? And he answers, who made you ruler over me? Moshe thought, and he says, surely the matter is known. A simple meaning is, surely the matter is known that I killed the Egyptian and that this Jew will now inform Pharaoh what I've done. That's exactly what happened. Moshe had to flee for his life. That's Lashon Hara. You understand, Moshe Rabbeinu was saving. He saved another Jew. And these 2 Jews are snitching. Rashi quotes this midrash that says that this was not really what Moshe meant. The midrash explains that Moshe had already wondered why the Jews were in such terrible exile, more so than any other nation. Furthermore, another midrash relates that when Bnei Israel were crossing the Yam Suf, the angels compared it to the Egyptians who also worship idols. The angels asked God, why? Why are you saving the idol-worshipping Jews and killing the idol-worshipping Egyptians? But even though Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the Jews worshiped idols, when he was pondering the reason for the Jews' torturous, protracted exile, he did not consider the fact that they were worshiping idols. However, when Moshe realized that they were speaking Lashon Hara and that someone had reported to Paro that he had killed the Egyptian, he finally understood why the Jews were in exile in such a horrendous servitude to the Egyptians. Why? Because they were talking Lashon Hara. It's Lashon Hara that does it all. Even the Torah says that you don't get suffering or subjugation except through Lashon Hara. We're going to find out how this works, okay? We're going to find out how does this work. So right now, all we know is that the severity of Lashon Hara is very, very strong. We know that we've established that. We established a few things. One, the one who's going to get punished is the speaker, the listener, and believe it or not, the subject, the person whom you're speaking about. And we're going to find out what happens. And now we're going to leave with, okay, I promised 20 minutes, and 20 minutes it is. We're going to leave with this book, and I read it, and it's really, really beautiful. Lashon Hara is when one communicates something negative about another person or something that could cause him loss, harm, or shame. From beginning the laws of Lashon Hara, we must discuss the source of prohibition and the consequence, the source. Speaking Lashon Hara constitutes a Torah prohibition. As the verse states, do not go tale-bearing among your nation. The whole prohibition against gossiping and speaking badly about another and applies whether or not the information is true. So it's irrelevant if a lot of people say it's not Lashon Hara because it's true. It's not true. True. Okay, positive. Hashem wants the best for his creation. Hashem is our Father. One of the most critical values for good world is peace and harmony. But Lashon Hara creates disunity and breeds hatred. When you start talking bad about somebody, especially, and this halacha goes for friends, family, spouses, children. If you talk bad about them, it doesn't breed goodness. As such, in his wisdom, Hashem commanded us to keep the commandment in order to promote peace and warmth amongst people. The reason that we have the laws of Lashon Hara is so we could create like warmth, like nice, warm feelings towards each other. We should feel like, you're my brother, you're my sister, and I love you. Moreover, Hashem desires that we become more elevated beings. We're commanded to become more godly. As the verse says, and you shall walk in his ways. This entails growth and character development by becoming more compassionate people. A primary way to achieve this by elevating our speech, right? We don't have to say, you don't have to say, oh, she's short. Well, isn't that obvious? Like, why do you have to say that? Where'd that come from? You know why you wouldn't say that? Because somebody else will say, I'm a little slumpy. You don't know what they're going to say. So better not say anything at all. Oh, she's so tall. What? Where would that come from? Why would you open your mouth? When one speaks badly about another, it has a profound impact. See, when you start talking bad about somebody in a negative tone, you're creating and we're going to learn about what's creating. Firstly, the listener now has a new view of the subject. This often affects the listener's conduct when he relates to the subject. So meaning like if I talk about bad about a family member, that's terrible because now the person that's listening has a different view of that person. You just ruined it. And you might be wrong. Even when there is no tangible harm, it still causes the listener to think less of the subject. You just brought the person down a notch. You didn't create harmony. This is all individual level. However, Lashon Hara also damages the entire Jewish nation. We have to understand that each and every one of us are interconnected. We're all interconnected. There are no mistakes in this world. When I do a mitzvah, I'm helping somebody in India who, I don't know. When I do an avera, I'm hurting somebody. When somebody has a hard time keeping a mitzvah, it's because my counter partner is struggling. When I achieve greatness, it's because my counterpartner achieved greatness. We're all interconnected. We're all one soul. We're all. In fact, it is very reason why we're all in this long, bitter exile. Our sages tell us unnecessary hatred caused the destruction of the Bais Hamigdash. It's only when we rid ourselves of this hatred, this particularly driven by Lashon Hara spoken amongst us, that we will merit the redemption. Bezrat Hashem, it'll be in very soon. Okay. So the only thing that we established, and I hope we get together again next week, again, 20 minutes and that's it and it's over. And we're going to find out why. You all know the laws. Don't say this, don't say that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I want to go into the depths of it, of what's going on up in heaven, the minute that you open your mouth. What's happening? We live in this physical world, but there's a spiritual world that we're going to be connecting to. And this way, when we start to talk, we start to think, is it worth it? We're going to have a sign on our forehead. Is it worth it? And the answer is going to be, it's never worth it. Okay? All right. Any questions?
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you, Liba. Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you
Thank
guys.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, and we'll meet next week, same
Thank
time,
you.
same place. 20 minutes and we're out.
Perfect.
You
Great.
Okay.
got it.
Thanks a
Thank you.
bunch, Libby.
Thank you.